Welcome to the Lifestyle You podcast. I'm your host and health and fitness coach, Jenna Altman, and I'm so glad that you're here. Health and fitness don't have to be that complicated. Do you want to achieve a body you're proud of, gain physical and mental energy, and grow your confidence without giving up date night with your partner or starving yourself? The Lifestyle You podcast will provide you with the tools that you need to make your health and fitness fit into your lifestyle, not the other way around. The stories, lessons, and actionable takeaways from original episodes and guest interviews on this podcast will not only allow you to break through those limiting fears and beliefs, but also find freedom and confidence in the way that you move and fuel your body so that you can live your strongest, healthiest, and happiest life. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lifestyle You podcast. Today, we are going to be chatting about 5 reasons why you should be strength training. So first, I want to just start by kind of debunking the myth of getting bulky. So I know so many females are worried that they're going to look bulky as a result of weightlifting or strength training. And I just want to bring it to our attention that this is just not true. It takes so much effort to actually build muscle. It takes so much effort, so much food, probably likely some supplements. And so the idea that you're thinking of in terms of like looking bulky is actually what you're asking for. And what I mean by that is so many of us are looking to get more toned. And when we say we want to look more toned, that honestly looks like more muscle on your body. So you look more fit, you're able to see more of your muscle on your body. And the only way to do that is to build more muscle underneath the surface and lose some body fat in association with that. And so the only way to build more muscle is to strength train, okay? So just wanted to clear the air about that. I know that this is a hot topic for a lot of people. And of course, there was a time when I thought that strength training would make me bulky. I remember specifically saying to my sister-in-law that I did not want to participate in CrossFit because I was worried about getting bulky. I have a naturally strong frame, a muscular frame, and I was concerned that I would get too bulky. And that could not be any further from the truth in terms of what my body actually looks like. And so I just wanted to make sure that we cover that first before we really dive into why you should be strength training, because I know that that can be a really big point of contention for a lot of women. Also, before we dive in, I want to talk a little bit about like what is strength training versus what is not strength training. So I see all the time people misunderstanding what strength training is. And so if you are someone who is going to an Orange Theory class or any of those sort of like boot camp classes and they incorporate weights in the classes. So maybe you have like a class where it's part cardio, then you have a class where it's part strength training in air quotes. You guys can't see me, but I'm doing some air quotes because those classes are kind of built in terms of like you're doing cardio sessions and then you're doing or cardio stations and then you have the strength training stations. And really, strength training should be more of an isolated event. You should not be integrating the cardio alongside of the strength training, especially if we're looking to build muscle. So all of those classes and things that you probably enjoy doing, of course you can still do them. I'm not saying not to do them, but if you're really looking to transform your physique and build some more lean muscle and look more toned, you're going to need to put the cardio aside and really focus on lifting heavy weights in isolation. So not in the middle of a class, not after cardio. You really want to have this before you do anything else because we want to put all of our energy and attention towards the strength training because that's going to allow us to push harder, to lift more weights. If you go in there after a cardio session and try to lift some weights, your output is not going to be as high as it would be beforehand because now you're just kind of coming in there with an already exhausted body trying to do these exercises and your body's already tired from the cardio, okay? So just want to clear that up too. Like that's not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about strength training in this sense. And so what I'm talking about here is really looking at more rest in between sets, heavier weights, progressing your weights over time. So getting stronger, building through those movement patterns. Eventually, even transitioning from maybe a certain level of an exercise to a higher level of an exercise, right? So that could be anything from like a kettlebell deadlift, eventually progressing to a barbell deadlift, right? So really being able to kind of make those progressions over time and sticking to the same exercises consistently for at least 4 to 6 weeks, okay? So I know there's a lot of classes that you'll go into. There's a lot of programs where it's always different. You're always doing something different. And while that might be super fun, I'm not going to lie, it is fun to change it up. You are not going to see progress long term in terms of building muscle, because if your body is not repeating the same exercises over and over again, it's never going to get a chance to build off of those, okay? So this is why it's so important that we kind of differentiate what I'm talking about when we're talking about strength training here, okay? So now I want to share with you guys my 5 reasons why strength training is queen. I love to say this because I love it. And I want more females to be out there doing this. And I know that the culture is changing, that there are. And for those of you who are already strength training, right on, keep it up. I love it. But for those of you who are a little bit skeptical, definitely tune into this part. So here's why strength training is queen. So number 1, it helps us build lean muscle mass over time. Okay. So when we talked about this kind of in the beginning, we are working on building that muscle mass, which is going to give us that toned look that you're probably searching for. Okay, so if you want to look toned, if you want to look fit, if you want to look in shape, you are going to need to build lean muscle mass. Okay, so that is something that is a great reason why we are looking into strength training. The next reason is because of this increased muscle mass, there's actually an increase in your metabolism. So often when a lot of my females start training, they'll say like, wow, I'm experiencing more hunger. Like I feel more hungry. And that's because your body is trying to respond and eat accordingly to the muscles that are growing. Okay. So your body needs to be fed. So really paying attention to those hunger cues, noticing that increase in metabolism, and especially because your muscle is going to burn more calories than your fat, right? So that's going to be more of an anabolic sort of situation. Reason number 3 why you should be strength training. It actually preserves your muscles and bones as you age, thus improving your longevity to explore the world when you retire, run around with your grandkids in the yard, and live a happy and healthy life, right? So we are trying to preserve bone density, muscle mass, all of those things deteriorate as you age. And so the key here is to keep steady building of muscle or even maintaining of muscle and bone density as you get older. Reason number 4. It can prevent diseases, illnesses, and other unwanted conditions such as diabetes and anxiety and stress. And this is really important because obviously we are aging. If you're listening to this podcast, you're most likely, entering somewhere between your 20s, 30s, 40s. And this is the time to really focus on taking care of our bodies in order to prevent those serious illnesses down the road. And so making sure that we are doing those things from a longevity perspective is really important. And then the last reason is actually my absolute favorite. And this is because it can just help you feel better overall. And this is actually, when I talk about like feeling better, this can look many different ways. But today I just want to talk about how this can make you feel more confident. And there was actually a study in 2002 where 49 college women participated in a strength training program twice a week for 12 weeks. So over the course of 3 months. And they were actually reporting at the end of the program that 97.5% of them felt healthier and more fit, using phrases like toned up, stronger, more fit, in shape, more energy, and healthier. Even 51.2% reported improvements in their perception of their body image using phrases like look better, improved body image, acceptance of self-image improved, and not so worried about what others think. All right, last stat for you guys. 85.3% reported an improved attitude toward themselves using phrases like happy, more confident, feel better about myself, higher self-esteem, more in control and less stressed, and at ease with herself. Okay? So the best part about this study is that it actually did not report any substantial changes in the participants' weights, body fat percentages, or measurements. All of these wins were still coming to these women because of how it made them feel. And so for any of you who are considering getting into strength training, I hope that you do it for any one of these reasons, but especially because of how much confidence that it can build. I can absolutely attest to this firsthand, how much more confident strength training made me throughout my journey and really brought me to this place that I'm at now, which is just full of confidence and full of just amazement at what my body is capable of. And that would not be the case if it was not for strength training. And I have watched tons of women go through this exact same transformation throughout my coaching program as well. And so if you want to learn more about this, if you want to hear more about this, I am happy to share those details with you. So today's food for thought is going to be really fun because I'm going to ask you this question, whether or not you are strength training. I'll have two different questions. So if you are strength training, what's your favorite reason for strength training? Why do you do it? And I think that this is a great reminder to all of us to really evaluate why we do the things we do. When we can put a why behind something, it makes it that much more meaningful, which makes us that much more likely to stick with it. Okay? So that's my first question. If you are someone who is not strength training, I would love to know, do you resonate with any of these? Do these sound like things that you're looking for in your life? And if that's the case, I highly encourage you to look into strength training. Okay? So I would love to hear from you guys what your strength training routine looks like currently. If you do not have one, that's totally cool. I would love to talk more about what that could look like for you. So definitely hit me up. Let me know what you're currently doing and maybe what you would like to incorporate. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for listening to the Lifestyle You podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a 5-star rating and review to help others discover the magic we're creating together. If there's someone in your life who could benefit from listening to this episode, be sure to forward it along to them. You can also follow me on Instagram at Jenna Ray Altman for more helpful content, resources, and good vibes. As always, thank you so much for being here.